This is Aaron, and we're going to talk about how I gained 25 pounds in 3 months working at Texas Christian University. Stay tuned. Working at Texas Christian University, I was a strength and conditioning intern. I was doing it actually for class and for experience. I was under the tutelage of Kaz Kazadi, Ryan Jackson, Kyle Bolton, and their staff there. The new staff that came over from SMU. I got there in January of 2022, and man, I tell you, it was a great experience. And I was also training for CFL for potential to play pro ball because I had just got done playing at Arkansas Tech, my master's program, in the NSCA accredited strength and conditioning master's program. So during my time there, I'd actually gotten sick before I'd moved to Fort Worth, Texas to be an intern. It wasn't COVID, it was just some sort of sickness that I wasn't sure what it was. I was sick for 4 or 5 days and actually lost like 10-15 pounds. I was about 195 pounds when I got done playing at my master's program, and that December I got sick and I actually had dropped down to about 185 maybe. I think I got there at TCU and was like 182 pounds and was feeling real gaunt. And I left TCU after about 3 months to prepare for my finals and all my presentations to be basically gifted or to see if I was worthy of my master's degree in front of the board. I left 210 pounds. And on the good days, I was about 212, and that's without shoes, only shorts, and an athletic shirt on. So I gained quite a bit back. Now there'd be a bunch of people that sit there and say, man, you took steroids. You went from 185 to 210, 212 pounds. You took D-ball. You took all kinds of HGH. No, I didn't, actually. And to be honest, I actually am interested in taking some HGH or testosterone. Reason why is, as a strength coach, I've seen other athletes, the limitations and kind of the natural body and seeing who has good genetics, who doesn't have good genetics, how they react and how they recover. And testing on myself for the majority of the time, I would actually like to see the performance gains if I was to take performance enhancing drugs. But I say all that to say, I've never taken it before in my life. The most I've ever taken is creatine, whey protein, things like that. So the question is, how did I gain so much weight? Well, let's be honest, it wasn't 25 pounds of muscle, right? When I got there, I was sick. I just got off of sickness, should I say, and I was probably almost in the single digits in terms of body fat percentage when I had gotten sick. I had been there before when I was in high school, and when I played at Arkansas State University, I was actually doing body measurements, and I was around 10% there. So after my master's program and I got sick, I was probably actually in the single digits. But when I left, I was more likely in the double digits, probably around 13 to 15%. I still had a little bit of visible abs. I wasn't pudgy really anywhere at all. I had very defined legs, calves, very defined arms and back. Most of my weight around here. And I still had not as cut of abs as I usually had, but I still had a little bit of visual abs. So the body fat percentage wasn't too insanely high, but there was a difference between when I first got there versus when I left. But it was all for the sake of performance because I was training for a CFL combine, CFL tryout, should I say, not the combine. So I was eating a lot of food. So how? You know, you're sitting there going, I don't need all this information. What the hell are you talking about? How did you gain all that weight? Well, it's the most cliche answer in the book. I ate and I ate and I ate. So the basic schedule was I'd get up around 5 something in the morning. I'd get there and I'd eat one of the pre-training snacks we had set out for the athletes. we'd go through our daily run through, we set up for the lift, and while we were checking the athletes, getting their body weight, all their vitamins, checking them off for that, checking them off for this, checking them off for their pre-activation stuff, I'd be eating snacks as I go, checking names off, make sure guys are doing the stuff they're supposed to. Then we go and coach on the floor for 2 or so hours, 2.5 hours, and then I would eat snacks in between the training groups, and then I would eat a little small snack before we went into our coaches meeting. And then after our coaches meeting, I'd get out and we all go eat breakfast, and I'd eat an ungodly amount of food. I mean, hash browns, eggs, I'd have grape juices, milk. I had just so much food that I wasn't even hungry. I was just eating and eating and eating. And for the first while, it kind of sucked, but I got used to it. And then I'd go after that, I'd do my chores, and we'd set up for other lifts and things like that, and I'd eat snacks. Then it was time for lunch check period, and I'd go in there and I'd check the names off, making sure guys were eating the plates that they're supposed to, and I would just eat and drink and eat and drink and eat and drink. And then after that, I'd go train. I'd do all my sprinting, my jumping, which is important because I wasn't really doing hypertrophy. I was just doing power work. Just a lot of sprinting, a lot of power cleans, a lot of squatting, bench pressing, just a lot of plyos and sprinting and jumping and all that stuff. And then after that, eat a post-training snack, and a lot of times go get a to-go plate from the cafeteria, right? And then come back, work out all the kinks for tomorrow's lift, go home, eat the food from the cafeteria, and then about 8:30 at night, actually cook another meal. So we're looking at a snack during the middle of training, snack after training, a big breakfast, a snack before lunch, training, and then snack after training, a pre-dinner, and then an actual dinner. So you're looking at, I was eating 9 times throughout the day, and it got to the point where I'm eating and eating and eating where I didn't want to eat anymore, but I was just still shoveling down food to try to gain the weight. And once I kind of got past the stage where it gets boring, you just automatically start doing it, and you kind of turn off. It's kind of dangerous, yeah, but you kind of turn off the part of your brain that goes, all right, we've had enough food. But on top of that, I was actually burning a crazy amount of calories. Not only was I training for a CFL tryout and doing a lot of sprinting and power and a lot of stuff that was going to maintain my body mass and probably give me a little bit more body mass, but it's also those exercises burn an insane amount of calories. I was on my feet for about 12 hours a day. I got there in the morning, I coached, I trained, I did chores, I set up for the lift the next day. So I was actually burning quite a bit. I think when spring ball happened, I was walking 8 miles a day before 10 o'clock in the morning. So I was burning a lot, and I was eating an insane amount. So people would sit there and go, he was on steroids. I wasn't. I just ate so much that I almost threw up every day. And for the people who like, oh man, I want to get big, I just can't gain size, it's, are you eating enough? And if you want to gain size, you really just got to eat until your body tells you no, and you just go, whatever, and you just still stuff your face. And that's really how you gain the size. But you also have to make sure that your intensity in your exercise is high, especially if you don't want to gain too much fat. Because as much as I gained about 25 pounds overall, I probably went from 7 to around 13 to 14. So if you do the math on that, you know, it's around 10.5 pounds of fat, so about 15 pounds of muscle. But that's still a lot of muscle. Genetically, can everybody do that? I don't know. Am I genetically gifted? I don't know. Is my math maybe off of my body fat percentage? I'm not sure. I just know for me, I carry my weight around my midsection, and at 210, 212, I still had somewhat visible abs, even without downlighting. So I know that my body fat percentage wasn't too insanely high.